What John saw in heaven will leave you breathless. The vision of Revelation, light up faith. I remember the wind on Patmos. It carried the scent of salt and loneliness. The world had forgotten John, but heaven had not. The sky that night seemed ordinary, black and empty, but something was stirring beyond sight. John was praying, not asking for freedom, not even for life. He simply whispered, "Lord, I am still yours." And at that moment, eternity split open. It began with a sound, clear, commanding, like a trumpet calling across creation. "Come up here." It wasn't thunder, though it shook the air. It wasn't music, though it was filled with melody. It was a voice that knew him. And before John could draw another breath, he was caught up, lifted beyond the veil of time. The sea vanished, the island faded, and light surrounded him. Light so alive it sang that I tell you, if your heart could see what John saw, you would never fear death again. The heavens opened like a great doorway, not just for him, but as a sign to all who would ever hunger for God. That door is still open. John was no longer a prisoner. He was standing at the edge of glory, trembling before the presence of the Eternal One. And I, who saw in vision with him, still cannot describe the colors. Jewels of light that seemed to breathe, fire that felt like mercy, and silence that sounded like worship. Before him stood the throne. Not an image carved by human hands, not a symbol of power as kings of earth would boast, but the true center of all existence. Around it swirled light, emerald, sapphire, gold, shimmering like waves on an invisible sea. And on that throne sat one whose appearance no tongue could capture. Jasper and carnelian were but shadows of his brilliance. Every movement of his light spoke of holiness. Every pulse of his radiance declared, "I am." John's eyes could barely hold the sight, yet the voice beside him whispered, "Look closer." Around the throne flashed lightning. Thunder rolled like living heartbeat. But this was not chaos. It was order in divine majesty. From that throne, all power flows. From that light, all life begins. On earth, men argue over kingdoms and crowns. In heaven, there is only one king, and he is seated, unshaken, unafraid. His throne has never been empty. Encircling him were 24 elders, clothed in garments white as morning snow, their heads crowned with gold. I watched as they rose again and again, falling to their knees, removing their crowns, casting them at his feet. The sound of gold striking crystal echoed like music. They did not mourn as they bowed. They rejoiced. For in heaven, surrender is the highest honor. Every victory they had ever known was from him, and now returned to him. And before that throne stretched something beyond imagination, a sea of glass, clear as crystal, calm as eternity. No hipplis, no storms, no darkness lurking beneath. It mirrored the glory above it, a reflection of perfect peace. I realized then, all the tempests of life end here. The sea that once roared around Patmos was but a shadow of this sea, this ocean of stillness before the throne of God. But even that stillness was alive. Near the throne moved 4 living creatures, unlike anything born of earth. One like a lion, fierce and noble. One like an ox, strong and steadfast. One with the face of a man, wise and aware. And one like an eagle, swift and soaring. They were covered in eyes, front and back, above and below. Nothing hidden, nothing unseen. And they never ceased their cry, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come." I tell you, they do not tire of that song. Each time they behold him, they see something new, another depth of his perfection, another flame of his love. Their praise is not repetition, it is revelation. And whenever they worship, the elders respond, falling again, crowns tumbling again, until heaven itself becomes a symphony of surrender. Every sound, every movement is worship. And as John listened, I felt his heart break open with awe, but then the music stopped. The one on the throne held out his right hand, and in it was a scroll sealed 7 times. An angel proclaimed with a voice that shook creation, "Who is worthy to open the scroll and break its seals?" And silence fell. Not a sound in heaven, not a breath on earth. Even the sea of glass seemed to hold its breath. John wept. He wept because he saw the truth. No one was worthy. No man, no angel, no creature of heaven or earth could touch the sealed destiny of God's plan. For a moment, it seemed as though redemption itself hung in the balance. But then a voice came, steady, radiant with power. One of the elders said, "Do not weep. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah has triumphed." John turned, expecting to see a lion, but instead he saw a lamb, small, scarred, standing as though slain. Blood still marked his wounds, yet his eyes burned with eternal fire. In that moment, heaven revealed its greatest mystery, power perfected in sacrifice. The Lamb took the scroll, and as he did, heaven exploded in sound. The living creatures fell down. The elders knelt once more, harps in their hands, golden bowls filled with incense. The prayers of the saints rising like fragrance before the throne. And they sang a new song, one never sung before. "You are worthy, for you were slain, and with your blood you have purchased for God people from every tribe and language and nation." Then millions of voices joined, angels beyond counting, shouting, "Worthy is the Lamb who was slain, to receive power and glory and wisdom forever." If only you could have heard that chorus, the sound of all creation praising the one who died and rose again. John's tears dried in the light of that song. The scroll was opened. Destiny was restored. The Lamb reigns, but the vision did not end there. The heavens widened, and John saw a multitude no one could number, a river of faces shining with joy, people from every corner of the earth. They were clothed in white, waving palm branches, crying, "Salvation belongs to our God who sits on the throne and to the Lamb." There were no divisions among them, no nations, no walls, only unity, only worship. And one of the elders said, "These are they who have come out of the great tribulation. They have washed their robes in the blood of the Lamb. Their suffering on earth had become their testimony in heaven. They were no longer weary, no longer hungry or thirsty. The Lamb himself became their shepherd, leading them to springs of living water. And God, yes, God himself, wiped away every tear from their eyes. I remember that moment most of all, because in that wiping away, I saw the heart of God. He is not distant. He is not indifferent. He bends low to touch the tears of his children. In heaven, grief dies, pine dies. Even memory is healed. Every scar becomes a story of redemption. Then came the final vision. After the wars and judgments, after evil was cast down, John saw the dawn of eternity. "I saw a new heaven and a new earth," he whispered. "Not repaired, but renewed. The old had passed away. The seas of separation were gone. The holy city, the new Jerusalem, descended like a bride adorned for her husband. I saw its walls, jasper and sapphire, foundations of emerald and amethyst. Gates of pearl opened wide, and streets of gold shone like glass beneath the light of God himself. But the beauty of that city was not its brilliance. It was his presence. A voice thundered from the throne, 'Behold, the dwelling place of God is now among his people. He will dwell with them, and they shall be his.' And then, the most tender words ever spoken, 'He will wipe every tear from their eyes. Death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain, for the old order has passed away.'" Imagine a world without hospitals, without graves, without goodbyes. Imagine laughter that never ends, love that never fades, and light that never dims. That is the world John saw, the promise of the Lamb fulfilled. And the one seated on the throne said, "Behold, I am making all things new. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Do you see it? This vision is not distant history. Is prophecy alive in you? The open door John saw is still open. The same spirit that carried him beyond Patmos still whispers, "Come up higher." Every trial you face, every exile, every heartbreak is a doorway disguised as pain. When the world pushes you into isolation, heaven prepares to reveal its glory. John's story is not just a revelation. It is an invitation. The throne still stands. The Lamb still reigns. The multitude is still growing, one soul at a time. You are part of that vision if you choose to follow the Lamb. And though the world around you trembles, heaven does not. God is still seated. His promises still shimmer like rainbows that never fade. I have often wondered what John felt when he returned from that vision, when the sound of waves filled his ears again, when the island silence returned. But I believe he smiled. For though he was back in exile, his heart had already crossed the sea of glass. He had seen the end. He had seen the face of love himself. And now, across the centuries, his voice still echoes. Live in the light of what is coming. Do not be shaken by what you see around you. Lift your eyes higher. There is a throne above every storm, a Lamb who reigns beyond every shadow. Heaven is not a dream. It is the truest reality. And one day, when the trumpet sounds, you too will hear that same voice saying, "Come up here." When that day comes, you will not climb mountains or cross oceans. You will simply step through the open door, leaving behind the dust of time, and enter the brilliance of eternity. And there, before the throne, with the elders and angels, you will join the eternal song. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Until that day, let your worship begin now. Let your life become the echo of heaven's praise. For you were not made for this fading world. You were made for the glory John saw. And when that door opens for you, may you step through it not as a stranger, but as one who has long been expected, home at last in the light of his presence.